I believe God sent people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X to challenge empire, to challenge oppression and speak out against oppression.
Welcome to another episode of the Olive Roots podcast. I'm your host, Chosi Ayub. Today we have somebody very special. He's a young man, and his name is Cason Kelly. Cason,
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good.
Where are you located again?
Chattanooga, Tennessee, in the United States.
Oh, you're in Tennessee,
Yeah.
Chattanooga, man. I've been there. I went to the Ruby Falls and Rock City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like,
nice up there.
have you been on the top of the mountain and see the
Yeah, when you
sunset?
see the seven states.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's
It's
beautiful
beautiful.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, I'm in Georgia, man, so we're not too far from each other.
Okay. What part?
I'm in Fayetteville, so it's like 30 minutes south of Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of Fayetteville.
Well, thank you for taking the time to join us today, Kason. And
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you for having me.
of course, man, I found you on Instagram and I saw all the stuff you talk about. So I'm like, okay, this is a young American kid, man, your 20s, in your 20s.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, yeah. So I got a double age on you. So to me, you're still a kid. But yeah, man, I saw you. You're pretty smart, outspoken. You dig, a lot about politics and what's going on, not
Hmm.
just in the US, but around the world. So I was like, I got to have you on my show. So thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you.
Okay, Kason, the first portion of this episode will be about your identity. So, what I would love for you to share is your family, where they're from, where they're raised, how were you raised, and where you are today. So you can talk about anything you want about your identity. So the floor is yours.
So my family, we're raised in the southern states of Tennessee. Well, my dad, he's actually from Alabama. He was born in Alabama, but we're Black Americans, and we are descendants of slavery. And my great grandfather, he served in World War I, and my great grandfather served in World War II. My great uncle served in the Vietnam War, and how I was raised as a Christian man, and I didn't always have the same Christian beliefs because they have changed over time. Like, because I used to always have like the westernized version of Christianity belief in my system, but it has changed over time. But that's just who I am.
Wow. So, a family of veterans.
Yeah.
So, what made you decide not to follow the same path and have a path of your own when it comes to the military?
Because I've heard stories of how they treated my grandfather, dad, and it was very disappointing to hear of how World War II veterans, soldiers, white soldiers, would treat black soldiers. They would look at them as less than, and that they would look at them that they don't know how to fight and defeat fascism. So it's like, it just gave me a uh, a thought that the military isn't who they say they are. I mean, you can look at the Vietnam War, for example, of how they would terrorize families. And my great uncle told me about this, of how they would terrorize families, innocent people, burn down their homes. And it was just unfortunate to hear something like that. And, the United States of America military always preach about how they serve the people and how they protect the people. But in more likely sounds like they are well, it does sound like they are protecting billionaires and big corporations and fighting for oil to feed them their pockets. And so yeah, that's how I came to the conclusion of how I feel about the military today.
Yeah, they're pretty much fighting for their banks, right?
Yeah.
And for their pockets. And I've heard so many stories from different sources about how Black American fighters will go serve their country, the United States of America. And over there, they're doing the same thing any other American would do. Then they come back to the US and get treated as second class citizens or lower than that.
All right.
I'm very familiar with that story. Is there any specific stories that your grandpa shared with you or your dad?
Uh, that was really the only story that my grandpa shared with me that I know of that I could share. My dad hasn't really shared any stories other than he was born and raised in Alabama. Well, he was born in Alabama. He was raised in Tennessee.
Okay. So as far as growing up in the South, your dad, your family,
Mhm.
mom, dad, and there's a lot of history of the South of racism, Civil War, slavery, cotton fields, all the stuff we hear about. We watch movies, we read books, and we see all the horrible things that happen in the South.
Right.
Now, did your dad share any stories of prejudice, racism, and like, did you also experience any of those in today's world?
I'll talk about my grandfather first because he did share stories about racism that he experienced. My grandfather, my great grandfather, he was set up by white men that he would call friends in the uh, when he was working with the people in the railroads. And it was one point in time, one day, where they set him up and started beating on him. They almost beat him half to death. And it was to the point where my great grandfather started telling my grandfather, and my grandfather is now telling me to never trust a white person, no matter what they tell you, no matter how their politics are, because they'll set you up. Now I still believe in unity across races, but just with caution with what my grandfather went through in the Jim Crow days, and my great grandfather went through in the Jim Crow days, and now to my grandfather, he's also been through something because it was in the middle of the night where he was living with his mom, and his dad was like at work or something like that, and the police would start banging on the door and just budge in unannounced, and they would have their pistols out, and they would just be terrorizing them. I don't know what else he told me, but that's what I remember.
Wow. So the second story that you shared is kind of similar to what happens to us as Palestinians over
Yeah.
there by the occupation, the Zionist Israeli terrorist forces, as I call them.
Hmm.
They will come in the middle of the night and do identical actions, just come
Yeah.
strip you naked, do all that. So I can draw parallels there. But that's crazy that your grandpa's father goes, works on the railroads, thinking he's around friends,
Hmm.
everything is cool, and then they just set him up.
Yep.
So like they call him in and beat him up, and yeah,
Yeah.
man, it was like
They
I
just
can't imagine back in the day.
and he also told me they just let him stay there, until somebody came and picked him up. So it was crazy. And that's why my grandfather feels the way he feels now.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand back then the stories are horrific that we heard and what used to happen. So now we're in 2026. You're 22 years old.
Hmm.
We're in a different time. You're cautious. But how is your interaction nowadays with white people?
Yeah, like you said, it's cautious. It also depends on their politics. Like if they prove that they are educated about Jim Crow, slavery, segregation, if they speak up against apartheid that's going on in the Middle East, such as what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, and what the United Arab Emirates, what they're doing to Sudan, and what Rwanda's doing to Congo, if they're educated about that stuff, then I could make really good friends with them. But they just have to be very educated, understanding on history, and just woke, and but at the same, like if they're not against oppression, like if they're conservative, liberal, if they continue to like uphold capitalism, then they're not your friend, because racism and stuff like that stems from capitalism. It strives in capitalism. Capitalism needs racism to survive.
Yeah, it's pretty much based in colonialism, right?
Yes.
And that's supremacy, making people above others. But I think we're in a place right now that supremacy is more into those one percenters, right? As
Yeah,
I call them.
yeah,
So these are elites. It doesn't matter what color they are or
right,
what religion for that matter.
right,
And at this point, we are all becoming their slaves,
right.
right?
Yeah, and like the black bourgeoisie, you can see that they don't care for black people in the hood, because you see that our neighborhoods are still dirty. Jay-Z, he's a billionaire, just about. His wife is a billionaire. And you see LeBron James, he's a billionaire. Michael Jordan's a billionaire. They have like black celebrities have so much money to where they can contribute not only to black people, but to people all around this country, and they could build free healthcare clinics. They could build food programs to where kids can go eat. They could go do other things such as like funding unions and stuff like that too, where young children, young teenagers will be able to have a job after they graduate high school, and they could be also helping kids with their student loans and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that the supremacy is coming from the 1%, and it's really not a specific color.
Yeah, I mean, you can't serve two masters, right?
Right.
And it feels like these people, they're worshiping money. They're worshiping the god of money.
Hmm.
That's what they worship. And, money is, money can help,
Yeah.
right? But these people want to go to Mars and want to have different yachts and
Yeah.
70 mansions instead
Yeah.
of
And it's
helping homeless people.
And it's unnecessary how, like, it is, yeah, it's unnecessary how Elon Musk is about to be a trillionaire. See, like when Donald Trump and Elon Musk were going back and forth on Twitter in June, I knew that was a show. I knew that was just something to give to the people, for people to talk about, for a distraction. And like it's like ignoring what Elon Musk is doing, how he set up the US aid to get cut, and how that killed millions of people in the global south. And how he's exploiting workers, and that's how he's also about to be a trillionaire. That's how he became a billionaire in the first place. Like I always say, there's no such thing as a good billionaire, because in order to be a billionaire, you have to exploit workers and not pay them their fair share.
100%. I mean, you
Yeah.
see what's happening in Congo.
Yeah.
There's a continuous genocide and oppression of the people in Congo,
Hmm.
and there's children under the age of 5 digging in the mines while the mines collapse on them, just so Elon Musk can has have his electric cars.
Right.
And then we as humans here, we're like, yeah, I want to get an electric car. And then we start seeing where all the lithium and everything is coming from. You're like, everything is connected and everything is pretty demonic and wicked when you think about it, right?
Right.
And speaking about Elon Musk, he has Starlink.
Hmm.
And right now, we heard about some things coming out of Iran, right? Iran was able to jam Starlink. Once it's jammed Starlink, America and Israel, as I call it, they were not able to communicate with their proxies, the Mossad and the CIA.
Hmm.
And that's why they pulled away from Iran, because right now they don't have insiders.
Right.
They got caught. So that gives you a little bit of idea about the intelligence of Iran when it comes to IT, security, all that stuff. So what do you think is happening with that situation? How much do you know about what's happening, and what's your take if you've been following that?
I haven't really been following Iran recently, but I do know that people are protesting out there. I don't know what for, but I've been seeing clips of that happening. But I am not aware of what's going on with the Starlink stuff. But I did read a headline that China's doing something about it, that's challenging it. I'm not.
Yeah, well, this is all a battle for power between the East and the West, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, think about America's gonna is trying to take Greenland right now, like,
yeah, yeah.
and they're thinking like China and Russia versus America, and I'm like, America thinks it's living like 100 years ago, still want to go to war and steal oil and try to build its economy on the petrodollar, right?
Yeah,
And when you see videos of China, especially like what is his name? That black kid Speed, what's his name?
I show speed.
I show Speed.
Yeah,
Man, in 10 minutes in China on his live, he killed all the propaganda that we've been fed about China.
yeah.
And right now he's traveling Africa and showing the beautiful communities and different minorities in Africa, and everybody's welcoming him. And it's been very great to see because not a lot of people are doing stuff like that, right?
No, not at all. And he also changed a lot of he also opened a lot of eyes of Black Americans too, because we've been fed so much propaganda about Africa of how there's nothing, there's no water, there's just huts, and people don't really have any clothes. And once you watch speech stream, you'll see all of that stuff is a lie. They have nice infrastructure in some places like Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria. They could do some work on infrastructure, but it's better than what we were taught. And Rwanda has some good infrastructure, but I feel like the way that Rwanda got there is by exploiting the people of Congo. But yeah, Africa is not what America taught us at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of technology there. And, Africa has been graped out of its resources, right, for
Yeah,
centuries.
yeah.
And
Africa has gold. They have silver. They have cobalt. That's what Rwanda is stealing from Congo, the cobalt. So, and they also give the cobalt to China, to where they because they make iPhones with that material. So China has a hand in there, but it's not as bloody as Rwanda.
yeah, and you see the United Arab Emirates and Sudan has a big hand on arming the
RSF.
yeah, that is killing so many innocent people, right?
Hmm.
And just to get resources so you can be like, "Oh, come to Dubai," right?
Yeah, and Gaza has gas.
Yeah. That's why they want Gaza.
Yeah,
Gas, Gaza, right? Ironic, right?
yeah.
So where do you think America's heading with everything you're seeing as a young man? I think are you still in college or you're done?
I'm done now.
So now you're done with college, you're seeing the economy,
Hmm.
you're seeing how divided the people are.
Hmm.
You're seeing that there's two wings on the same bird politically, Democrats, Republican. It's all a game, it's all a show.
Hmm.
People still fall for it, but hopefully you don't. What do you think is the future looking like, and how can we make America great? Period.
With recent trends going on, I have concerns that America is moving further right. I feel like people are becoming more reactionary, and these Republicans, specifically, they're becoming more bold in pushing fascist policies. Shutting down DEI, uh, praising Confederate generals, and stripping away Black history, for example, from the Smithsonian Museum, where Donald Trump defunded that. And you see how ICE is treating people. You just seen a lady; she just got popped in the head like 3 times, and before that, a Black man was shot and killed by an unarmed ICE agent. So I see America; it's heading towards fascism, and the way we fix that is we have to organize, we have to educate, and we have to uh, start teaching the principles, the true principles about socialism, and how socialism is actually supposed to provide for its people, and how capitalism always move towards fascism when it's falling apart. So I see America is starting to fall apart. You see a lot of allies; they're starting to shift away, move away from America, disassociate with America. You see that with Canada, how they started associating with China and how they figured things out. So I see America empire falling, and that's why they're becoming more reactionary and moving towards fascism.
Do you think the reason why we're seeing this empire collapse Is it because of the Zionist state of Israel?
Yeah, yeah, that also plays a big part, because you see how much money was sent over to Israel when uh, the people could be benefiting from that money. And that $1.5 trillion that Donald Trump talked about giving to the Pentagon, I'm pretty sure that Israel is going to get a majority of that $1.5 trillion. They always get money from Israel. I mean, from the United States, bombs from the United States, and they're using those bombs to uh, kill innocent Palestinian babies, women, and children. So it's just uh, that's what I see America's going. It's like that's why I think it's collapsing because they're not focusing on the needs of the people, and when you don't focus on the needs of the people, you're just going to collapse every single time.
Yeah, see, like I think the people that are running America right now, and people be like Biden, Trump, and I'm like, no, you got to look one layer behind.
Hmm.
The people that are running the president and the cabinets, they're the Zionists right now.
Yeah.
And you saw how they acted for the past 2 years, like savages, right?
Yeah.
So now they're running America. This is a bigger country with more diversity, different kind of minorities, and different way of life. And now I think that entity is the reason America's collapsing. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that as well. Especially, and I also want to add to the point where Israel is trying so hard to control the narrative on the media. You see that they have, I think his name is Ellison, something like that. He's from Oracle, the CEO of Oracle. He bought TikTok, like
Is it David Edelson?
yeah, David Ellison, one of Israel's biggest donors. He bought TikTok, the database of it, to control the American version of TikTok. So you see, Israel is trying so hard to control the narrative. They want black young people. They want young black people to be controlled by Israel so bad because the older generation of black people are controlled. They still believe, but because with the Christian beliefs and stuff like that, they believe that Israel is some Christian nation and that God gave them that land. God didn't give them that land. That was Palestinian land at first. They took that land. Yeah, they took that land and they are trying to make it an ethno state. That whole entire region.
Yeah, I mean, they want to do the greater Israel, and that's pretty much ethnically cleansing 7 countries to create your fake kingdom of Israel, as
Mhm.
the greater Israel. And it's funny because in the Bible, those people were called Israelites, not Israelis, right?
Right.
So it's interesting. I think what the devil is very smart. He's very crafty. So what I think the devil did here, he created a fake Israel with fake Jews and called them God's chosen people, infiltrated the church, and ta-da, you have evangelical Christians, dispensationalism, people believing that the 1948, the state of Israel, is fulfillment of prophecies, and the more we fund it and kill Palestinian children, the faster Jesus can come.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah. And Jesus stand against everything like that. He stands against oppression. And he actually in the book of Revelations, you'll see where you read that Jesus pulled out his sword and started being aggressive. I wouldn't say violent because Jesus wasn't violent, but aggressive because he was tired of the exploitation that was going on. He was tired of the oppression, and he was tired of the suffering that state was doing to the people.
Yeah, I mean, you also see it when what he did in the temple, right?
Yeah,
Start whipping them.
yeah,
And people talk about the lamb, but they don't want to talk about the lion, right?
you're right. Yeah, and when it comes to Zionism, it's such a evil ideology. It's a evil political ideology that causes real harm, and we're seeing it in real time. And it's not about Judaism or Jewish people, and they'll they'll gaslight you to call you anti-Semitic for condemning Zionism when it's a settler colonial project that wants a ethno state.
So, how much did you know about Zionism? Did you know about Zionism before the genocide in Gaza, or that's what led you to start learning about it?
So I've always heard the word Zionism from activists like Kwame Ture. I just didn't really care enough to look it up. But when October 7th came and the media was posting about it all over the place, that's when I started reading and doing everything like that. And also, Malcolm X's book drew me to learn about Zionism as well because he wrote an article that said that Zionism is, an oppressive ideology.
Yeah, he definitely spoke against the Zionist state, and
And he also met with Palestinians too. He
yeah,
went
he
to,
was in Gaza
yeah,
when Gaza had an airport.
yeah.
Most people don't know that. Okay, so speaking about Jesus whipping them, taking the sword, let's move on to the second portion. I want you to share with the audience your faith journey. How did you grow up? What faith your grandparents or parents were raised in, and where you are today with the faith?
So my faith is rooted in Black liberation. I'm a Christian. My families are Christians, but they don't really go that deep that I do. I believe God sent people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X to challenge empire, to challenge oppression, and speak out against oppression. And they were killed for that. And that's how they did people like Jesus. And you see Black women like Harriet Tubman, she was moving like Moses, because Moses went back to free his people out of bondage. And um, that same spirit lives on to Black people today, where we're still trying to um, free our people out of the mindset of capitalism because mentally we are still enslaved. I mean, you see how majority of Black people today still vote Democrat no matter what. I mean, they'll just go to the polls and just vote Democrat. And I also want to mention when it comes to God Army, that's how I seen the Black Panther Party. Like, I don't see them as criminals or extremists. I see them as God's army because they fed the children. They opened free healthcare clinics to make sure they have free healthcare and that they're healthy. And my faith, that's what it's that's what it's rooted in. Faith without action is dead to me, and that's what I understand about my faith journey.
Yeah, I believe faith is an action, right? Like,
Hmm.
in order to practice your faith, you need
Hmm.
to do something, practice, right?
Yeah.
And Jesus didn't come here to bring a religion.
All right.
Jesus brought a message and he showed it with his actions, right?
Hmm.
He didn't just come and say, like all these presidents, oh, let's do this and do that. And they don't do anything like action wise.
Right.
He actually was the leader that walked, by example and led many to salvation and to victory. And he said, you're going to have troubles in this world.
Hmm.
You had troubles before I came, and you're going to have troubles after I come.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of troubles in the world, right?
And that's why I stand. That's why I stand closely with Palestine, like solidarity, because faith without justice means nothing. Like you can't pray with your hands folded while bombs falling on children 24/7, and you can't quote scripture and ignore genocide. If your faith only works for people who look like you or live like you, or don't believe in the same religion that you believe in, then that's not faith. That's just trying to be so hard in your comfort and not moving out of comfort zone. You're not challenging yourself.
I mean, yeah, you have the Israeli military goes, bombs children,
Hmm.
and then they celebrate their religious holidays in Gaza, lighting up rockets and whatnot to celebrate their faith. Kind of reminds me of back in the day when the slave owners will abuse the black people, calling them their slaves. lynching them, hanging them, whipping them, doing all kind of insane stuff,
Yeah.
and then going to the church and praising God.
Yeah.
So the parallels are wild because I'm like, okay, if you really were a follower of Christ, you will get these people out of bondage, you
Hmm.
will save them, you'll bring them to church and preach the gospel to them.
Yeah.
But what they did is the total opposite. They oppressed them and kept them away from that. And when black people try to read and become educated, they didn't want them to get educated. They didn't want them to read.
Right.
And when they built communities, they destroyed them.
Yep.
But if you start going back to even slavery, the slave ships, I don't know if you know this, but 90% of the slave ships were owned by Jews, Ashkenazi Jews.
Yeah, that's what Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches the Nation of Islam, and he actually goes into dialogue about it. I actually do need to do more research about it though, but he always brings some receipts that is true.
Yeah, I mean, this guy always speaks the truth, man. He's very well aware, very educated, and he likes to poke the hive.
Hmm.
And he knows the Islamic faith, the Christian faith, the Judaic faith. He knows the Bible. He knows the Quran. Very interesting man. How long you've been watching him?
I've been watching him for like 3 years now.
Yeah, man, it's very interesting. He's getting old. He's getting up there.
Yeah, he's like 92 now, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that hate him.
yeah, he's still living though. He's still healthy and living.
Yeah, yeah. May God keep blessing him and protecting him, man. So tell me a little bit about the Black Panther Party because a lot of people might just know what the news say, but there's a whole different side to it. So what do you know about all that?
Yeah, so it is a political organization. It is not the Black Panthers that you'll see in the movies with their guns, marching with their guns and yelling at soldiers like Forrest Gump. I don't know if you've seen that scene, but it is a funny scene. But yeah, the Black Panthers, they are a political organization. They are inspired by Malcolm X. They studied Mao. Well, they were a Black nationalist group, but then they evolved into a sets of political ideologies. They studied Karl Marx. That was one of the first things they studied. They studied the principles of communism, and they also studied Lenin, Mao. So they are a Marxist-Leninist organization. They still exist today. They have been trending recently. A lot of people have been wondering how to join, but it is something that you can't just join just to join because they are a very serious movement. They take things very seriously. They don't play. And like if they have codes to where, for example, they are strict on they are strict on drugs. And if you violated one of the codes, you are expelled for life. There's no second chances or anything like that. So it is a, very serious movement that is about very serious organizing. You have to be serious politically, very serious. And they do have a rainbow coalition to where white people can join, brown people can join, Asian people can join. It doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, but if we're politically aligned, then we have something there to where we can work together. So that's what the Black Panther Party is about. It is not the Black Panther Party that you see in the movies either, and they are not a terrorist organization. The reason why the United States labeled them as terrorist organizations, the reason why J. Edgar Hoover labeled them as a terrorist organization is because they always preach self-defense. And I don't know if you are aware of this, but the NRA, uh, like they have what is it? How can I say this? They have supported gun control, like gun restrictions. I think that's the most accurate way to say that, to be honest with you. But they have supported gun restrictions, but that was because the Black Panther Party was moving with their weapons and marching with their weapons and showing that they are about self defense. They knew their laws till they knew their laws. They always carried gun permits. So, the Black Panther Party is just not the party that you're taught in schools, whatever they're teaching you in schools about the Black Panther Party, if they're even teaching you about the Black Panther Party.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch movies and the way they show them and represent them is like aggressive, right?
Hmm.
And trying to spew hate and division, and there's like we're black and we're better than everybody else, and I'm like, that's not
Yeah,
what the Black Panther was.
right. And if you look at Fred Hampton, Chairman Fred Hampton, Uncle Fred Hampton, I just say his name in the most respectful way. But he was only 21 years old when the FBI deemed him as a threat. And the reason why they deemed him as a threat is because Fred Hampton was so coherent and talking to people, having conversations with people. And he was getting gangs to unite. Gangs would be fighting in Chicago areas. He would get them to unite and work with the Black Panther Party after they studied the principles of the Black Panther Party and after they read the books and things like that that the Black Panther Party had on their reading list. And he will also go to the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, and talk to white people there that didn't really like Black people. They were already carrying Confederate flags and everything like that. But after a conversation with them, uh, they started to align with the Rainbow Coalition. And they realized that this is not about race and this is about class struggle.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because parallels in Africa with Mandela, right?
Right.
They called him a terrorist,
Yeah.
and this guy was fighting for his people. So it's interesting how they can decide what they want to label this person and that person, right?
Hmm. And also, I do want to add that uh, in order to fight capitalism, you have to understand racial theory as well, because that's how the United States was built on. It was built on racism. It was built on the backs of enslaved people.
Yeah, I mean, it's genocide, ethnic cleansing, and
Mhm.
slavery, right?
Yeah, and before it was built by Black people, they were committing genocide on indigenous people too. They almost wiped their whole entire population out.
Yeah, like millions and millions of people, man. I've seen pictures of when they lined up the buffaloes so they can starve the natives, right? And they took a picture above all the skulls of the buffaloes. And I'm like, wow, that's very ironic because Israel's trying to do the same thing to Palestinians.
Hmm.
So you can see that there too. So where is the Black Panther Party today? And is it something that still is in power, exists, or growing?
They're growing, and they're all over the place. And there are different branches and different parts and organizations of the Black Panther Party. You have the new Black Panther Party, which is really not aligned with the OG version type of Black Panther Party. They preach and teach completely different things. They be teaching black capitalism. They are a black nationalist movement. I'll just put it that way. But the Black Panther Party that I'm associated with, the chairman minister with the Black Panther Party that I'm with, his name is Bunchy Carter. He's Bunchy Carter's son, who was a OG Black Panther. And they are in Washington, the state of Washington, not Washington D.C., but the state. So that's where they are. They have been moving quietly though, because of the history of infiltrations and stuff like that. But they are recently growing due to the video that went viral about the Black Panther Party.
Wow. Wow. So let's go to remember when the Black Lives Matter movement became a thing. First, it was just a small thing that people were protesting.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a movement and then it gets confiscated by the Democrats, right?
Yes.
Becomes an
Yeah.
organization.
Yes.
Lost its flavor and its meaning. George Soros, you know the whole deal.
Hmm.
So, being a Black American, seeing what's happening, white cops shooting Black kids, different incidents here and there, Black Lives Matter, okay, Black lives do matter.
Hmm.
And then they start getting infiltrated by the LGBTQ, kind of like the pro Palestine, gets infiltrated by the LGBTQ. I see the same thing. What did you feel about the Black Lives Matter movement, and what are your thoughts about it today?
Well, it most definitely did have a lot of potential. You know, I feel like that it was the spark to start a revolution. You know, and start challenging the system. You know, I feel like that we started to get something going with the uh, George Floyd protests, and turns out that the Democrats came and infiltrated it because they wanted to protect capitalism. They want to protect imperialism. They want to protect racism, and you know what they preach is a lie. You know, they always preach about unity and everybody getting together, including the LGBTQ as well, because they be exploiting them and preaching to them about trans rights and stuff like that. When they're not doing that at all, you know, and you can look at legislations where I think Biden has did something that made the trans community mad, and you know, that's what I think about it. I think that the reason why the Democrats infiltrated is because they want to protect those systems of exploitation and oppression.
Yeah, I mean, it's two wings on the same bird,
Hmm.
and they try to use the left and the right, and anything you create, they will infiltrate, you know?
Yeah,
They try to infiltrate the Palestine movement, the pro-Palestine movement, but that didn't go too far because the Palestinian cause is very unique, and a lot of people don't know that this has been happening for 77 years in Palestine because you know who owns the media.
right.
So what really started looking weird to me is that you know how some people like to jump on the bandwagon.
Hmm.
So when the Black Lives Matter movement happened, some people were like, yeah, Black Lives Matter. Some people be like, well, maybe I can push my own situation alongside the Black Lives Matter.
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh, let me sell my oppression. And I'm like, no, this is about one specific thing. Same thing with Palestine. Palestinian lives matter, pro Palestine. Stop killing children in Gaza, pretty much. Right. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing other people try to hijack the movement. It didn't work. Even the
Right.
Democrats couldn't hijack it. Why is this something that always keeps happening when there's an oppression of a specific group of people? Why does it always get hijacked by organizations?
What specific organ, like the political establishment?
Political, other people that try to push their own narrative, you know, like financial gains. Like, why is there's always something weird happening every time there's a movement? Something strange happens in
Well,
parallel.
I feel like it's something dealing with like they want to silence their message. You know, I think that's the most simple way to put it.
Yeah, so pretty much they want to infiltrate it to take it somewhere else so it can die off.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. So tell me, in your opinion, what is the best way to resist the enemy or the oppression or whatever bad thing that is happening to a group of people? For example, in Palestine, Gaza has been a concentration camp for decades, right? These kids grow up to be men. These men became resistance fighters called as Hamas, Haraka Muqawama Islamiyya, Islamic Resistance Group. So Hamas is a resistance group because of the occupation. You want to get rid of Hamas, get rid of the occupation. So that is one way to resist. Other people were resisting with their cameras, documenting the genocide. Other people were resisting by doing medical work, saving lives. That's for Gaza specifically. Now let's talk about America. You're seeing the government going crazy. They're acting like criminals and thugs. You're seeing ICE coming, masked, no badges. We don't know if they're really working for the government or they're trafficking people for that matter. You're seeing the division politically between the left and the right that's been going on for a long time, which I don't buy into because it's two wings on the same dragon. And you're seeing the Israel first versus America first, right? And you're seeing the megas versus the conservatives. That's another division right there. So you're seeing all these things. and America's a sinking ship. What is the best way for young men that are unaware of everything happening to be aware and resist it? What is your message to the young people of America?
Well, it's just time to start paying attention. You know, everybody be on their phones, and I know that you can go ahead and pull up an article and read about what's going on and stuff like that, and start educating yourself and start talking to your communities. But it also starts at home, talking to your family about organizing. And when you talk to your family, the conversations that you have, the conversation will carry on to other people, and after the conversation carry on from other people to other people, that's when it starts to become viral. And you see everybody's, talking about a general strike right now, but you have to be organized because a general strike is serious. That's when, like, stores will be forced to close, schools will be forced to close. Probably won't be having any gas to drive. So you'll just have to be very organized for something like that. And that is a resistant way to challenge empire, because if you hit them in the pocket, that's the only way they'll start listening to you. Because when you threaten their economy, that's when they'll start listening to you. And that's also why they took out Martin Luther King as well, because he was starting to be resistant and boycotting and organize something that was going to threaten the economy.
Yeah, I remember when I started seeing all the boycotts coming in America because of the genocide in Gaza. And one of the ones that were boycotted were Starbucks, right?
Hmm.
And then you still have people going, well, I don't care. I'm just going to go get my latte.
Yeah, McDonald's too. They're supposed to be being boycotted because they sent, I think, burgers to Israel so they could
Oh,
eat.
yeah, they've been feeding the Israeli military, right, during the genocide. So you got people that are like, well, it doesn't affect me. I'm just going to go eat my burger, drink my coffee, and life goes on. La, 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 la. Let me get my TikToks in or OnlyFans or whatever these people are doing, right? And they don't even understand that even these women that were doing all these OnlyFans stuff, OnlyFans is owned by an Israeli guy that is sending all his money to the Israeli military.
Hmm.
Most people don't know that. So the girls are selling naked pictures to support the genocide. And they're like, well, it doesn't affect me. Well, for example, our tax dollars are committing a genocide, my tax dollars and your tax dollars. And if we don't pay taxes, we go to prison, right?
Right.
So, how can we as Americans protest that and try to dictate where our taxes go?
I really don't have an answer to that, to be honest with you.
Do we even have the power to do anything?
I believe so. Going back to organizing for a general strike, to start hitting them in their pockets. Got to start hitting these big corporations in their pockets, because
Yeah, I mean, they care
corporations
about
are
money.
yeah, because the big corporations are the ones that's funding them in the first place.
Yeah, I believe we got to hit them in their pockets because that's their god, money, right?
Like you said earlier, it's the 1%.
It's the 1%, and they're all old, man.
Yeah.
Like you look at the politics, the Congress, right?
Hmm.
These are people, most of them above 70.
Right.
Then when you get a young person, oh, they don't know enough. For example, Mamdani in New York, whether you like him or not, he's young.
Hmm.
And I believe we should start getting young people, maybe not as young as 20, but at least 30s and 40s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And the thing about Mamdani is the Democrats, they were trying so hard to stay away from Mamdani and distance themselves away from Mamdani, but they couldn't because he had so much recognition by the people.
Yeah, and they try to push, oh, well, he's Muslim. Oh, well, he eats with his hands or whatever they were saying. Oh, his wife is Syrian and oh, he's Indian. And I've heard so many things about Mamdani, and I'm like, well, New York is very diverse.
Yeah, I did start side eyeing him when he called Hamas a terrorist organization. I don't think Hamas is a terrorist organization. I just think that Hamas is a self defense organization. Those two are just completely different, things.
Yeah, it's a resistance group, you know? obviously is terrorizing one side because of the terrorizing that side is doing to their people, right?
Right.
So if you want to call it a terrorist, well, maybe to you because of you're terrorizing them. So if I'm terrorizing you and you terrorize me back, I mean, where are we going with the conversation of who's the terrorist, right?
Right.
But yeah, Mamdani, I lost respect to him when I saw him going to the grave, the Schneerson Rebbe, the Rabbi Schneerson, that Trump went to his graveyard and put that stone over his tomb. So I
Hmm.
saw that Mamdani did that, and that's something only you do if you're a Zionist.
Right.
And that's something you do if you want to go kiss the wall in Jerusalem, right? So when Mamdani did that, I was like, something is off here. But he's a Democrat, so like I told you, I don't support the Democrats or the Republicans.
Right.
I'm independent, and the people are like, yeah, Democrats, and I'm like, bro, you guys are still falling for the same trap. And they're like, yeah, midterms, and I'm like, we need a third party, man. What do
Yeah.
you think? Do we need a third party?
Yeah. We need a third party, and I believe we need a one party solution.
One party solution.
Yeah, like a one party solution that's for the people. Because if you look at it, the two-party solution is built to divide the people. Like, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, I'm conservative, I'm liberal. And when people look at that, that's just, you see it's very divisive because, if you're on the other side, that means you don't like me, so I'm not supposed to like you. So, you know, if everybody is united under one party that is democratically uh, people will be able to feel very represented, and more people will start coming together and communicating on what politician will best represent them for the people and for the people around the world. So that's what I feel like we need to do to like move forward with progress. We need proletariat power, working class power, and instead of the 1% controlling everything.
Yeah, I believe united we stand, divided we fall, right?
Yeah.
And right now we're very divided and the division keeps getting stronger. So are you going to get into politics?
I've just been doing activism right now. I don't plan on being a politician because I feel like being a politician at this point won't liberate us, because like you see how people like AOC, she was very radical at first, and you see that the establishment bought on her to a little bit, and same with Mom Donnie. So I feel like organizing outside the system is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think that woman is a snake, man. I never trusted her, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them, a lot of talk, no action, or fake action, right?
Yeah. The same thing goes with Jasmine Crockett as well, and she just voted to send more money to Israel. I'm surprised. What's her name didn't vote? AOC. She didn't vote to send more money to Israel. I thought she was going to sell out as long as with Jasmine Crockett. But you know, uh, I just don't see myself being a politician in this system, because they'll rely on you to sell out, and when you don't sell out, they'll just throw you off the bus.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to become a politician, you got to go kiss the wall, man.
Yeah.
You got to put that tiny hat, go to that wall, start humping it, and then you're going to get rich and powerful, and you're going to be one of the biggest liars on this planet. And that's what politicians today in America are, my friend.
Yeah.
They all liars and they feed lies, and you look at their banking account, they're full of zeros, and we have zeros like nothing. The people are suffering and they're just making millions, and that's capitalism to you.
Hmm.
I remember what Scarface said, capitalism is getting effed. That's what capitalism is,
Yeah.
you know. Well, Kason, man, I want you to tell the audience where they can find you so they can follow you, man.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Kson4K underscore. That's what the usernames are on both platforms.
Well, Kason, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. You're a very bright kid, and I hope Americans do wake up, because if I see people your age awake, it gives me hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, God bless you, man, and we'll be in touch, all right?
For sure. God bless
All
you
right.
too. Man.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
All right, guys. You heard it. It's a bright kid, man. And I feel like there is hope if there's people like him that can see between the lines, read between the lines, want unity. And they just want something else, man. We got to build a future for these kids. So let's try to make it happen. Until then, God bless you. Christ is King, and always free Palestine.